So why do French people hate Americans? So today I'm going to answer that question because I'm a French girl living in the United States and that's one of the questions I receive the most. So let's answer it. So first off, let me rephrase that question because how I get it usually is either why do the French hate Americans or why do French people hate Americans? That's the question I get. But let me rephrase it for you because it doesn't really mean anything. It's not really what's happening. So the question is more, why do French people seem hostile to American coming to visit France, or why do French people do not always understand the American culture? So first off, let me tell you that there's a lot of people that absolutely love the United States, especially the younger generation. So I would say my generation and younger. So I'm 22, so everyone younger than that too. A lot of people actually really want to go to the United States. They want to learn English, like the American way. Some prefer the English way, but the American way. They watch a lot of American movies. They listen to almost, some people just listen to American music. So we are influenced by the United States a lot in American culture, lifestyle, a lot in clothing, music, movies, a lot of different things, even food. And a lot of people want to go to the United States because the US is known to have so many beautiful landscapes, and like between Grand Canyon and all the west with Arizona, Utah, and also the big cities like New York City or Los Angeles, San Francisco, and stuff like that. So US is known to be a good place to go on road trips and see not only big cities but also mountains and ocean and beach, and there's like so many different landscapes. So a lot of people do want to go on road trips in the US. It's one of the biggest reasons to a lot of people to take a road trip in the US. So first I wanted to start with that. A lot of people actually really like the US. They really like Americans. They want to come visit. Some people want to live there. I came as an exchange student because I wanted to experience the American culture and I wanted to live in the US, and I'm not the only one. A lot of French exchange students or international students come to the US to study or just to spend a year to enjoy, the American lifestyle, to enjoy the different landscapes. So I just wanted to talk about that. But it is true, there's something that comes from why people do think like the French don't like them. Most of the people that say that because they went to France and they felt like people were hostile to them or maybe arrogant, they didn't maybe want to talk to them. So let me explain why. So the first reason why people do think French people are hostile to American is mostly the older generation. First, because older generations might not always speak English, so when an American comes, starts speaking in English, they might not understand, they might have a hard time speaking English, and I feel like a lot of French people take pride in their culture and the way they do things. So when they try to speak English and they're having a hard time because they don't know how to do it, they get mad. Not mad at you, but mad at themselves for not being able to speak in English. Another thing is that there's stereotypes about the United States, like every other country. I heard a lot of bad stereotypes about French or France by the Americans, and we have bad stereotypes about the US. So there's stuff like, it doesn't mean they hate you, they might not just understand the culture. So for example, one thing is the US is known to be a little too patriotic maybe. So it's a thing like we think about the United States, or Americans think that they are better than anyone else, that their country is the best country in the world, that they have kind of like a big head and kind of look at us like we're nothing kind of thing. There is also the gun culture. We don't understand it, mostly because we don't have the same culture in France. We don't carry guns around. So it might be hard for us to understand how the US can have so many guns, and especially with stuff going on like school shootings and stuff like that. We don't always understand what's happening. And another thing also is food. Okay, French people take a lot of pride in their food. We're known to mostly kind of eat a balanced diet. And one another bad stereotype about the United States is that you really eat really unhealthy fast foods, like plastic food, like we call it, because for example we love cheese, and we know the US is known to have like plastic cheese, what we call. So like for example cheddars, when you buy it in like little slice already in a plastic bag or whatever. So that's kind of these stereotypes that are not completely false, not completely true. It's kind of in the middle. It's it comes from something. It might be a little extreme the way we see it. but it's a kind of stereotype that make people not always understand the US and not always not like it. They don't hate Americans, they don't particularly like them because they don't understand the culture. The second main thing why people think French people are hostile to Americans is because when you come to visit, there is like a clash in the culture. The culture of France and the US is pretty different, especially in the way people interact. So like in the US, it's pretty, with my experience, like people are more open to when they first meet someone. Like I went to college and people in class like started talking to me, because they heard my accent, so it's like, where are you from? And smiling and being nice. Or sometimes when I walk in stores, like the person that is taking care of the store is like, sweetie, what do you want? Do you need any help? And they have a big smile on their face. The customer service is a lot more joyful and out there and smiley and with little words like sweetie. In France, it's really different. We don't have that open relationship or open conversation, communication with people we don't know. So if you go to France, to Paris, people will walk by you, they don't smile, they don't even look at you. You go in stores, usually the customer service is not the same. The workers do not usually come to you, say hi, what do you want, do you need help? You go to them to ask for help. So that's a huge difference. You go in an American store, you're walking, and they will come to you and say, hi sweetie, so do you need anything? What are you looking for? In France, you walk in, they won't bother you. If you really need something, you have a question, then you find them and say, excuse me, I'm looking for that. It's one thing that is really different, and you can see it everywhere. And that's why if you go to France, you're going to go to the airport, you're going to go to a restaurant, and you feel like they're hostile because you're not used to that. In a French restaurant, it's completely different than an American restaurant. In an American restaurant, you come in, they come to you, what table do you want? Then maybe a couple minutes later, they will ask you, do you want water, do you want that? Then you will get your command and whatever, your order, I mean. In France, it's so different. You go in a restaurant, usually you wait there for a while before they come to you. They finally come to you, they find you a table, you wait some time, a long time, maybe 10 minutes, maybe more, to find a waitress that come to you. For when you're done and you want to pay the bill. In the US, they just come to you, they're like kind of always look at the table, and they're like, are you done? Do you want to pay? In France, no way, it's not like that. In France, you wait, and when you feel like you want to, like you pay the bill, you have to raise your hand, like a kid in school, and you have to wait until a waitress see your hand and come to you and say, yeah, what do you want? I want to pay my bill. So there's a huge difference in the culture and how people act with each other. Doesn't mean they don't like you, doesn't mean they're mean, doesn't mean they're like, they seem hostile, but they're not hostile. They will act with me. I'm a French person. I will go in France. They will act like that to me. The waitress won't always smile. They don't always, ask me questions. They will never come to see, is everything good? Is your food okay? Do you need a refill? No, that's something that happened in the US. We don't do that in France. Yes, now that I live in the US, when I go back to France, sometimes I wonder too. I was like, why are they so mean right now? But it's just how the culture is. So I just wanted to be done with that and explain that French people in general do not hate Americans. That's such a big word. Maybe a couple of people do. I mean, I'm sure some Americans hate French too, or French people. But in general, either they actually realize the US and want to live there maybe, or at least visit, or it's older generation. It doesn't mean they hate you. It might just mean they don't always understand the culture. And otherwise, as I said, the customer service kind of thing is just so different, and we don't do that kind of immediate relationship where we smile and call people sweetie. We just don't do that. And I think one part of it is because, for example, in restaurants here we tip, and people like waitress, they live from that because they don't get a real salary. So it they have to try to be nice, because the nicer you are, maybe the bigger tip you're going to have. And I think it just catch on, and then people just act nicely. In France, they have a full salary. They don't need your tip. You do not tip at restaurants. So I think that's part of why we act different. And just remember that the next time you go to France, it's not because they're not smiling at you, not asking you a question about where are you from, are you a tourist? Oh, well, that's nice. Do you need help? They don't always do that. So just remember what I just talked about, and I hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure to leave it a like and tell me in the comments what other videos you would like to see.